Good morning, Agents of Nothing, and welcome to our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast. We're your commanding officers. I'm Mariah.
And I'm Caroline.
And today we're going to be talking about Season 5, Episode 4, A Life Earned.
Yeah. So, Mariah, how was your week?
Oh, it's been so long since we recorded because we recorded the last episode early to account for the trip that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So let's see if we remember how to do this. But I had fun in the snow.
Yes. Louisiana was covered.
Yes, Louisiana was covered in snow. We got something like 8 inches or something. It was ridiculous.
Unheard of. That's insane.
I am in the toe of the boot of Louisiana.
Yeah.
Look at it on a map and look up how often we get snow that sticks to the ground. Yeah. And it's very, very rare.
Yep.
So me and my mom went out walking in this blizzard in South Louisiana, and by the time, so when we were walking down the street, the wind was on our backs, and it was fine, and it was like walking in a winter wonderland, the snow is falling and you're like, oh great. We turned around to go back home and we were walking into the wind.
Oh, no.
And so by the time we got home, my mom had pulled her hat down over her face, so she was just walking blind. And, I am, covering my face. You can't, this is an audio. this is a podcast, so you can't see. But I was, covering the bottom half of my face, and, we were fighting for our lives. By the time, my face was soaking wet when we got home. Oh, it was terrible. But it was really fun at the same time.
Amazing. That's amazing. Have you ever experienced snow like that before?
Only in, not like that. Not, windy like that, but I've only experienced snow falling like that in, Colorado on vacation. So yeah.
Yeah. Wow. What an experience. Oh my God. It's terrifying that that's happening just on a global scale, but so cool for you.
Yeah. I never thought I'd see my house actually covered in snow. We've gotten snow before, but it's been mostly ice.
Yeah.
It hasn't been actual snow, but this was light and powdery and fluffy. Mm-hmm. The kind that you couldn't make a snowman with right away because it wasn't sticky enough yet. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and also I'm turning 30 this week.
Yay! For your 30th birthday.
I'll already be 30 by the time this comes out.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how was your week, Caroline?
Mine was good. It's been so long since we've done this.
Yeah.
So I think I've been telling you all about my saga with reading books from the library and having to wait months for them on hold. So while I'm waiting on the last installment of the Throne of Glass series, I decided to start reading Anne of Green Gables, because I rewatched the Netflix show and I was like, okay, I should maybe read the actual series.
It's different, but it's the same.
Yeah.
It's Anne of Green Gables is one of my favorites, as you know.
I know. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay.
But I find Anne with an E expanded upon the world in a way that I really liked.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, obviously, having been written so long ago, it's not like as progressive.
Right.
As
1908
the show was. Yeah.
was a very different time. But yeah, it's been really good so far. I had to put the first 2 on hold at the same time, and then the second one was ready first, so then I had to wait a little bit longer. But I finally got the first one, and I am like halfway through it right now. And yeah, it's been really good. It's fun to see because for the first, so many things from the book are in the series, like almost word for word, which is really cool. But then there are some things that are like, it's like they like combined some 2 different parts, or like you said, expanded on it. So yeah, I've been liking it a lot so far.
Yeah. Nice. I have an Anne of Green Gables excerpt on my wall here. Actually, I have 2 Anne of Green Gables posters. One is the passage when she first meets, I forgot his name, the father figure.
Matthew?
Yeah. And she's talking about how she talks too much.
Oh, yeah.
I have that up, and then I have, isn't it nice to think that tomorrow is a new day with no mistakes in it yet?
Aw, yeah. There was, I saw one that I just read last night that was really good, that was like, looking forward to things is half the enjoyment of the thing itself.
That's one of my favorites, too.
Yeah.
And I have an Anne of Green Gables tote bag that I bring to the beach every time.
You're just slowly immersing me in all of the things that you love.
Yes. I'm absorbing you.
Yes. I'll get there.
We're becoming the same person.
We are becoming one. We're bosom friends.
Aww.
All right.
Okay.
Should we get back to your other interests?
Yes, okay. So this episode was written by Drew Z. Greenberg and directed by Stanley Brooks.
Yeah.
Oh, before we get into it, I wanted to say, as of recording, today is February 9th, and it is the 3-year anniversary of the video that I put out that went, like, semi-viral about my dad, where, like, all of the cast and crew of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. started tweeting and DMing me.
Aww. 3 years, wow.
I know. And soon, in March, it'll be 3 years.
Of doing the podcast.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Amazing. Look at us go.
Look at us go. Okay, now back to it. Who do we meet in this episode?
So we meet 2 people. One of them is hot guy with no name. I called him Mind Reader. Because that's what he does. And then Gunnar, who, you know what? I felt for Gunnar. I was there with him. Except that I will never have baby fever, but. Okay. So we start off, while Cassius has someone, like, take a sample of Daisy's blood, he tells her a bunch of stuff that we already know.
I'm so squeamish about, like, blood and medical stuff.
Agreed.
Like, even just watching it. Like, they didn't show the needle going in or anything. Like, they didn't show... They just showed red going through a tube. And I'm like, ugh!
I can't do it. Yeah. That's really gross. I literally work in vet med. And I'm the worst about that stuff. Absolutely cannot look at it. But anyway. So, like I said, he's telling Daisy stuff that we already know, like that generations of humans believed that their shield heroes would come from the past to save them. But Cassius thinks that maybe Daisy is actually here to help him. Unlikely, as Daisy says. But he says that he already has bidders on their way from far and wide coming for the chance to buy her. And that she will go along with it, or else he'll hurt Gemma, obviously, who is standing right behind him in silence. And so obviously Daisy will do whatever.
Yeah.
The rest of the SHIELD team is at the salvage yard, working and quietly discussing where the hell Daisy went, because she didn't tell anybody where she was going. No one can find her, and so they're starting to get worried. But before long, Grill zaps Mac for talking, and he's like, "Why? We're all talking. Why did only I get zapped?" And he says, "It's funnier because you're bigger than everyone else." Was that him trying to flirt? That was like 6th grade style flirting.
You're so big and strong.
So big, it would be so much funnier.
I'm gonna bully you because I like you.
Grill then takes Mac aside and essentially offers Zeb's job to him. Grill says that he has someone who owes him a debt, but that person is getting some kind of package from Tech on the 35th floor from the Creepers, which hilarious name. So he wants Mac to go rough him up. Mac asks why him, and Grill says, "Have you looked in a mirror? You're a beast. Go be one." He's so flirting.
So here we have the only fun fact of this episode.
The only one?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Once again, there's no Wikipedia page for this episode, and I looked at the next episode. There's no Wikipedia page.
No!
So this one's from IMDb.
Okay.
When Grill solicits Mac to be his new enforcer, he echoes Coulson's similar plea from Who You Really Are. When Coulson says, "Have you seen yourself? You're a little bit of a beast all the time." Grill tells Mac, "Have you looked in a mirror? You're a beast."
He's beautiful.
Everybody wants Mac for his muscles.
Yeah.
Except Yo-Yo.
Well,
Yo-Yo loves him for who he is.
Yeah. She doesn't mind the muscles, though.
Yeah, that's a bonus.
So Daisy gets escorted into the fighting arena where Abby killed that guy. But this time, there's lots of people in there, and there are 2 guys sparring. One of them, the hot one, is very easily winning. I realized afterwards that the other guy is Ty, but I didn't remember his name. And he didn't look familiar to me in the slightest. They finish their fight, and the hot one goes over to Daisy, who's looking over the table of refreshments. And he apparently reads her thoughts about where the meat available comes from, and explains that they grow it somewhere on the bunker. Does that mean that it's like impossible meat?
Yeah.
It's like plant-based?
I think it would technically be vegan.
Yeah. Interesting. Turns out he's an Inhuman too. I love that he does not say his name. She's like, "You're
I know.
an Inhuman?"
I'm trying to remember if he did, but he didn't.
Did I just miss it? I don't think he said it.
I don't think he said it either.
Do you know his name?
No. But that doesn't mean he doesn't have one. I cannot remember if he comes into play later. I think he does. I don't know.
It seems like he will. Anyway. Nameless hot mind reader guy is an Inhuman too. and his power is hearing people's thoughts. She says that it's rude to do that without consent, but he says he just hears what he hears. And you know what? That's valid. People always get mad at mind readers, and it's like, can't help it if you're just like screaming thoughts at me.
Yeah. It would be like if you got mad at someone for overhearing your conversation when you both were yelling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like.
Right. Or if you're like standing right next to somebody and they're like whispering to themselves, but they're whispering loud enough for anybody around them to hear.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Anyway, he says that it is almost a relief when the creepers turn off his powers for him, which they do right then, obviously. It seems a little painful, honestly. But, of course, why would Cassius want someone able to read his thoughts? That would be crazy. Yeah. So then Ty orders everyone else to leave because Daisy is going to be like a private auction or viewing or whatever. Coulson advises Mac to go along with what Grill wants for now. He says that they should stick together, though, so Mac and Yo-Yo should go together to talk to Gunner. Talk to him instead of fighting him. And then Coulson and May can try to figure out how to get to level 35 where the tech is and see if they can find something to help them survive on the surface. Ty tells Daisy that she is to display her powers for Cassius and Basha, who's still there. I thought that she would have left by now, but whatever. And he tells Daisy that confirms for Daisy that they do make Inhumans fight for entertainment, but mostly for profit. He tells Daisy that she better get in the performance mood for Gemma's sake, because Daisy was like, what if I don't feel like it? And he was like, you better. So she's like, all right, fine. And then she quakes him across the room. How did he not see that coming? There's like no one else in the room for her to fight. What, did they think she was just gonna like float? Anyway, he's pissed though, so he turns her like inhibitor back on and then has her escorted from the room. Basha is very interested in bidding on Daisy, but Cassius holds grudges, and he said that he only conducts bidding business at dinner, which Basha made clear that she prefers to dine in her own ship. So she leaves very butthurt.
I was on Cassius' side here. That is my level of petty. And the fact that in the process he quoted her own words back to her. Oh. Yep.
So good.
So good.
So good. He may be a bitch, but he's a petty bitch, and I love it. So then Cassius turns to, I had to look up his name because I did forget it, to Deke. It's been so long. Deke, who was watching from the snack table, and Cassius gives Deke a small piece of some like valuable future metal, whatever it was called, as payment for bringing Daisy to him. And then Cassius says that he wants Deke to be on the lookout for other S.H.I.E.L.D. agents and bring them in as well. He says that he's familiar with the prophecy, but as Deke points out, he killed everyone who knew anything about it, so he doesn't know the details. He doesn't know exactly how many S.H.I.E.L.D. agents he'll be dealing with. Could be 2, could be 20.
That's a great Taylor Swift song. The Prophecy.
Oh, yeah. I was reading back through it.
Yeah, I saw you.
Please. Anyway, so Deke says that he'll see what he can find out, which is not exactly promising anything. I fear he's a play both sides kind of guy, a libertarian, if you will. So don't know how I feel about him just yet. Daisy waits to ambush the hot Inhuman guy as soon as he comes into whatever room this is. I don't know if it's a bathroom or what. There's like towels, but like nothing else. But anyway, so she ambushes him as soon as he walks in and asks if he knows / is okay with what's going on here. And he explains that he knows because he's read Ty's mind, but the other Inhumans don't, and they can never find out. He says that they get sold and leave with their new owners, and then their families get compensated after they leave, which gives them a better chance at survival. And that's just the way that things work around here. Daisy tries to argue that they could all fight back if they knew what was going on, but they end up just like talking over each other and not listening at all. And they get louder and louder, which is stupid, until somebody walks by. And he
also, it just occurred to me, Daisy, they can't fight back. Like, you all have inhibitors.
They can turn your powers off with a single click.
Oh, Daisy.
Oh, Daisy.
I love you. I love you so much. You do not always think things through.
She's like, yeah, but I can kick some ass without my powers. That doesn't mean that everybody can.
Yeah, and most of these people are children.
Yeah. Oh my god. Anyway, he ultimately tells her that if the two of them get pit against each other, she would do well to try and win, because he sure will. What an exchange. You know what? She and Mac are not listening to these people.
No.
But, I mean, I guess you have to, if you're going to change things, you have to go against the status quo. So, like, you have to do things that are, like, not normal. But you also should be, like, learning how things go so that you can change it.
Yeah. I feel like, yes, that's the important part. You need to, like, take a minute. I don't know, dude.
Yeah. So, like father, like daughter, Coulson ambushes Deke as soon as he gets off the elevator. He and May ask Deke where Daisy is, and he lies. I guess he gives, like, a couple of half-truths about seeing her and being told to leave her alone so that she could find her friend and figure something out, which is why they believe him. But he does not tell them that he turned her over to Cassius. I keep wanting to say Cassius, and it's Cassius.
You went Cassius.
Cassius. But anyway, so they believe him because obviously that sounds like Daisy. So they start asking about getting to level 35, which Deke has never even heard of. And then they play him the recording that they have of the people on the surface who are trying to contact Virgil. And Deke is suddenly very interested in helping them. He says that if there are actually people up there on the surface, then that benefits everyone. What a moment, though. Like, we can talk about it more later, but oh my god.
Yeah. You can, like, see it click in his eyes. Like,
yeah.
Say what you want about Deke, the character. Jeff Ward is a fantastic actor.
Yes.
I'm like, why don't I see him in more stuff? Maybe because I don't watch new stuff, but...
Well. That would do it.
Yeah. He could be thriving. I don't know.
Maybe he's doing great. He is booked and busy, and you're missing it. Anyway, okay. Mac and Yo-Yo are tailing Gunner, and Mac is being very judgmental of Yo-Yo for saving their lives by sacrificing Zevs. Mac says that he just doesn't want to see any of them lose themselves here. Yo-Yo says that she grew up in a place like this, that ran on fear and survival above all else. And while she hated it, she learned a lot from it. And Mac needs to bend just a little bit here so that they can do what they need to do to survive, because they're no help to anybody dead. And she promises that they won't lose themselves. Can't exactly promise that. But anyway.
And in the same breath, I mean, I guess Yo-Yo has kind of always been like this, but in the same breath, she's like, yeah, look at that guy. Maybe he deserves some roughing up.
Right.
But, you know, Yo-Yo's kind of always been like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know why it's a surprise to Mac now.
Right. Whatever. As they continue following Gunner, Scary Spice and her bodyguard, like, sashay down the hallway, and steal the soldering iron from some guy who was using it. It's like, hey, thanks. Probably to, like, torture Simmons with it some more or something.
She did not need to take it. All it did was make her remember something.
Yeah. But, like, they didn't use it.
All they do is throw it in front of Simmons.
And, like, they could have just been like, hey, you remember that guy?
Yeah.
Remember that other lady that was, like, with you when you saved that guy? Same effect. That was a waste of time. Anyway.
And now that guy doesn't have a soldering iron.
And now he doesn't have a soldering. What the fuck is he supposed to do? So Cassius has Daisy pulled into the room with him and Simmons and Scary Spice, and he accuses Daisy of lying about how many SHIELD agents are there. Scary Spice says that there was another woman present when Simmons healed that man who, the woman seemed to know her and understand what was going on. Daisy says that they should ask Simmons, but she can't hear them. So sassy. Cassius says that he can't abide by untruths, so he has... But I love when, like, liars say that you can't lie to them.
Yeah.
So he has the mind reader Inhuman come in for this conversation to prove when Daisy is lying or telling the truth. Mind reader confirms that Daisy and Simmons are both being truthful when they say that they are the only two SHIELD agents here. Then Daisy and Simmons separately tell the mostly true, or the same mostly true story about how they got here. Cassius is satisfied for now, but Scary Spice is not. Everyone is sent away, and Cassius tells Scary Spice that she is not the only one working on this. Whatever the fuck that means.
I'm hoping he just means Deke.
Maybe.
But, like, I think that's... I find in a lot of these, like, it's kind of a trope in these alien-type storylines where, like, the aliens underestimate that humans will stick together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't occur to them that, like...
Loyalty. Yeah.
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 Anyways,
well, I guess because,
I don't have
they
words
don't really
today.
have loyalty either. I don't know. They assume that the fear and control that they have through that fear will overpower any sort of loyalty, but it never does.
Yeah. You put that a lot better than I did.
Anyway, so Deke helps bring Coulson and May to level 35, and although they don't trust him as far as they can throw him, they don't really have another option right now.
So I think it was at this point where they said something about R&D, and I was like, what is that? So I looked it up, and it just means research and development. But
so
I'm starved for fun facts, so I included it.
That was a fun fact. Thank you. I needed to know.
You're welcome.
So Daisy and Mindreader finally get a chance to talk, and he says that he covered for her. He reveals that the creepers don't know that he can not only read minds, but also let certain other people read his. So he let Simmons hear Daisy's story. And he says that he did this because this was the closest that he's ever been to Cassius, and the only opportunity he's ever had to read Cassius's mind. And he found out that Cassius hates this place so much that as soon as his gala is over, he plans to destroy the entire station and everyone in it. So it looks like Daisy's teaming up with the Hawkeye again. What a surprise.
What a surprise.
Yo-Yo and Mac follow Gunnar all the way back to his quarters, and then she starts trying to intimidate him. Gunnar says that he's not scared of her, and she's like, yeah, well, you should be.
I had that song stuck in my head this morning.
I get it stuck in my head a lot. And she says that if you're not, then Mac should do the trick because he's a beast. So then Mac starts like talking out of his ass, saying that he knows that Gunnar has a package being delivered to him and that he can make it disappear if Gunnar doesn't pay Grill what he owes. And then Gunnar says if he does that, then he'll kill Mac. And I love this, like, assuming that they know what they're talking about, but they don't.
No, because they assume that I think all Gorilla says is that he's getting a package from floor 35, and that's like a science floor.
Yeah. So they assume that it's like tech.
Yeah.
Because what the fuck else would it be?
Yeah. No, I don't think that any sane person that does not live in this world would assume that the package is what it is.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't even know if Grill would have assumed that. I don't know.
I think, well, we'll get to it.
Okay.
In like 2 seconds.
So Coulson, May, and Deke are looking through the lab as stealthily as possible, and they find what must be Gunnar's package. A fucking baby.
A baby.
It's a baby.
So like this is, from what I understand nowadays, this is the only way that people receive children. Like,
yeah, that's what Deke says in like the next scene.
Yeah. So like I think Grill probably knew, but like I wonder if you have to like actually pay, or like if you just get selected.
I don't know. I was thinking if he knew that it was a baby, then maybe he's like, oh, well, if you can afford to take care of a baby, then you can afford to pay me back.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like something Grill would, yeah. From what we know of his character, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, fucking crazy. So back to Gunnar and Mac. Gunnar says Mac is sick for using a threat like that. And then Mac is clearly very confused, but he keeps going, say that, yeah, I'll just, like, throw the package in the crusher, whatever. I'll just throw your stuff in the crusher. What? Oh my god, like, anyway.
The implications of what he's saying, and, like, he has no idea, and you can see him get more and more confused as, like, this guy is getting emotional.
Yeah. He's like, what the fuck? What is in this package? Finally, Yo-Yo stops him because she realizes that the bag that Gunnar was carrying that they, like, threw out of his hands was baby supplies. And so Mac realizes what the hell they've been talking about, and he tries to backpedal, saying that he didn't know. But Gunnar starts going off, saying that the reason children are so rare around here is because of violent people like you. And he says that Mac doesn't deserve a child, and even if he had one, he'd just screw it up. And so then Mac has enough, and he starts hitting Gunner, ignoring Yo-Yo until she finally manages to stop him, and then Gunner's just like, see? Proved my point. Ugh.
Yeah.
It's so many emotions.
And again, like, just the look in Mac's eyes. Whew. Yeah. Henry Simmons is also
so good.
So good. Everyone in the show, of course. But, like, God, just look at their eyes. Like, you can see something, like, snap in him. Like,
yeah. Totally. Yeah. This episode is, like, it's like a masterclass in like subtlety and like eye acting.
Eye acting. That's what we're gonna call it from now on.
Which I'm pretty sure is just acting. That's just acting.
Look at the eye acting on Ian over there. Wow.
Look at that eye acting. Oh my god. Anyway, so back in the lab, Deke is explaining that selling newborns as a commodity is pretty normal here. This is the only way that people can have kids now because no one is able to get pregnant anymore. He thinks that they sterilize the population through the food so that they can decide who has children and who they can maximize their chances of getting inhuman genes passed on. He even alludes to the fact that Cassius is selling Inhumans off as slaves. And then May is looking through a computer nearby and finds that the most recent DNA sample for Inhuman breeding is one Daisy Johnson, Quake, Destroyer of Worlds, collected yesterday when Deke said that he was just with her this morning. So she punches him in the nose, as he deserves. Deke is about to explain when two creepers arrive and the fight ensues. The three of them take the two creeps down. But will you stop? I'm sorry. She's like in between the table and the couch and moving everything. Okay. Motherhood. So the three of them take the two creeps down, but Deke gets stabbed in the gut during the fight. So as they're helping him away, the door opens again. May tells Coulson to take Deke upstairs and get more answers out of him while she holds off whoever is about to come through the doors. Coulson tries to argue, but ultimately does what she says because they do not have time to argue right now. And then Scary Spice comes to the doors with her death balls at the ready.
Yikes.
Yikes. May manages to actually break one of the death balls with the axe that she stole from the other creeper, and then she fights valiantly, but eventually her leg gives out and Scary Spice gets her unarmed and backed into a corner. Fuck.
No, May. I do not remember what happens.
I know, they didn't show her the rest of the episode, so I'm very scared for her. I thought that she was going to be in the next scene, like, with Cassius, but then she wasn't. And I was really upset. So Coulson patches Deke up and then makes sure that the bleeding has stopped and the bandage is comfortable before also punching him in the nose. And Deke reveals that his mother was one of the elders who was murdered by Cassius for knowing too much when Deke was only 9 years old. And then his father led the resistance in her legacy, even though Deke begged him not to for his safety. And then Deke's father was sent up to the surface with everyone else as roach food too. But then he says that the voice on the recording was his father's, which means that he's alive on the surface, which is insane. So Deke not only wants Coulson and his crew to win, Deke needs to be there with them when they do so that he can be reunited with his family. Coulson says that's a nice story, but he's going to need a little bit more to prove that he can be trusted, obviously. Coulson demands the payment that Deke got for selling Daisy out so that he can give it to someone else who needs it more. Deke obliges begrudgingly. And then Coulson locks him in the room and repeats what Deke said about Daisy, about it's safer with you out of the mix for now. And then Mac welds the door shut so that he can't get out, which is amazing.
Where the fuck did they get the welding tools?
Truly. I mean, I guess they work in salvage.
Yeah, I guess so, but, like, did they just, like, I guess... maybe Mac is
Mac
like...
gets special privileges now.
Yeah, Mac is the new Zev, so he's like, let me borrow these welding tools for a second, boss.
Oh, God.
But, like, the story that Deke is telling is, like, it was so compelling, like, the way, like, the twist came out.
Yeah.
Because he was like... blah, 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 and my dad, blah, blah, blah. So that's why it was weird hearing his voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Such good writing.
Crazy. It was so good. What a storyteller. So they slide the payment under Gunner's door, obviously, where he and his wife are caring for their new baby. Real Robin Hood style. And then Yo-Yo finds Mac being moody away from everyone else, and she tries to comfort him, saying that Gunner couldn't have known what Mac has lost. He just happened upon this major trigger. And that's not Mac losing himself. It's just an understandable reaction to trauma. Mac says that Mac says, what if Gunner was right, though, and he actually is a bad father? Because he says that while losing the real Hope as a baby was hard, and it took him a long time to get through it, he got through it. But now he can't seem to let go of the pain of losing the fake Hope. And he thinks that caring more about a fake daughter than a real one makes him a bad father.
Mac. No, baby, don't think that way.
I know. And, like, without even touching on the fact that it has not been that long since they were in the framework. Because he literally said it took him a long time to get through losing the real Hope. And it's been, like, a couple of days since losing framework Hope. So... It's fine. You're fine. You're fine.
It's so... Because, like... I guess it would be hard to reconcile with yourself that, like... That... Although it was fake, it feels real.
Yeah.
Because you have all of those memories still. Mm-hmm. And, like... I don't know where I'm going with this, but, like... Yeah.
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 Well, and like Yo-Yo says, even though the framework Hope was a simulation, Mac's love for her was real. His feelings were real. And that is what makes him a great father and a good man. And she promises again that they will leave here intact. Without losing themselves. But Of course, just then, Grill comes up and says that Gunnar paid him off today, so he congratulates Mac on a job well done and says that Mac is fitting right in around here. Oof. Ugh.
Ouch.
Foot, meat, mouth. Oh my god. Incredible timing. So yeah, I want to give Mac a hug. Real bad. So now it's time for the post-content content. Scary Spice joins Cassius as all of his guests and Inhumans are arriving and confirms that she's taking care of May for them. Oh no. No. Cassius welcomes everyone to this exhibition and introduces Daisy, who is in chains and being led in by two very large creepers. And he asks if anyone else would like to add anything before they begin. And then a guy in a Star-Lord helmet who, you know, I was looking at him, and he has a Scottish accent. He says that since it's Quake, Destroyer of Worlds, that she should have to fight to the death. And he takes off his helmet, and it fits! Finally! Fits! 4 episodes without him is too fucking long. I missed him. I missed him so much. And Daisy's face when she sees him, she was like, finally! Fuck!
I am so...
Yes. So, overall...
thoughts.
I'm just giggling and kicking my feet over Fitz being back. And then also this episode was interesting because like I liked it. It was like, I hate to say it wasn't very exciting, but it was very exposition heavy, rather than like action heavy or like driving forward, you know? But I like to learn, you know?
Yeah. And this is the reason why 22 episode seasons should come back.
Yeah.
Because this episode was like almost all world building.
Yep.
Like, and you can't do that anymore.
True. Bring back good
Not
writing.
to spoil the next episode for you.
Oh, you are?
I'm not gonna, it's not a spoiler.
Okay.
But because, like, you'll see it when you, like, go to search for the next episode. It's just gonna be in the description. But next episode is all Fitz.
Yay! They're making up for it. So I'm assuming it's, because it's called Rewind, so I'm assuming this is, like, his journey to find them.
Yeah, essentially.
Cool. Well, good.
I'm like dancing in my seat. Y'all can't see it, but...
Very happy about that.
All right, well, that concludes our episode on Season 5, Episode 4, A Life Earned.
Yeah!
Next time, we'll be covering Season 5, Episode 5, Rewind, so stay tuned for that.
Okay, bye!
Bye, love you!